Hello, my name's Jacob. I'm the beekeeper here at Benjamin Banneker Historical Park. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about honeybees. So first off, what are honeybees? Honeybees are insects, and they're social insects. So that means they live in these large groups called colonies. And what they form is something called a hive. So in the wild, they would live in a hollowed out tree somewhere, but people who keep honeybees, they keep them in an artificial hive like these boxes. So inside the hive, there's 3 different types of bees. There's the queen, there's the worker bee, and there's the drones. So the queen, there's just one of her, and what she does is she lays eggs all day long. She lays 1,000 eggs a day or more, every single day. And the worker bees, that makes up most of the bees inside the hive, and they have a lot of different jobs. And first of all, they're all females. All the workers are all females. And what they do is they take care of all the eggs that the queen laid, and they raise them. And they also clean up the hive. They also protect the hive. And they also go out foraging for food. And they also make honey. And they also make wax, which they use to build the comb, which the queen will lay her eggs in, and where they'll store all the honey. And there's also drones, and there's not many drones in the hives, but those are all the males. So what do honeybees eat? They eat honey and they eat pollen, and they make honey from nectar. And nectar is this really sweet liquid that flowers produce to attract the honeybees. And they take a lot of nectar and they turn that nectar into honey. And when honeybees go from flower to flower to flower, they pick up pollen on their way. Because honeybees are really furry and they're hairy, so the pollen from the flowers stick to them like Velcro. And when they go from one flower to the next flower, they bring a little bit of pollen with them from the first flower to the second flower, and they leave a little pollen as they go. And what this is called is pollination. Well, this is hugely important for flowers because that allows the flowers to make seeds, which turn into fruit, and a lot of the food we eat comes from plants pollinated by pollinators, and honeybees are really important for that. And Benjamin Banneker, he was a beekeeper. He kept bees, and he was also a farmer. So he would use the bees to help to pollinate all the crops he would grow, and he would also harvest honey, which he would eat and could also sell to people in the area. And he also would have used the wax that the bees make for candles to light in his cabin. Now I'm going to go through the hive and inspect them to make sure they're healthy and see how much honey they have. And to go through them, I use the smoker. And what the smoke does is it helps to calm the bees down. So as I'm going through, I don't get stung, and to make it easier to go through the hives. And I'm wearing this veil to protect me so I don't get stung. This one's a little tall, so I'm going to take this down on the ground so I can see what's inside. So the bees, they make wax and they build these combs, and inside they'll put the nectar, which they turn into honey, and that's also where the queen will lay her eggs. Alright, I'm going to go through here and try and find some honey. So this is honey. This is what beekeepers harvest, and this is what we like to eat. You can see the bees working on the wax to keep the honey safe. Once the nectar has been turned into honey, they put a thin layer of wax over top and keep it for storage so they can eat it throughout the rest of the year. And these are all worker bees on this comb taking care of the honey. And then once you get the honey out of the frames, you can put it in these jars. The bees coat everything inside the hive with wax and this sticky substance called propolis. And everything in here is really sticky. And now we're going to go down and try and find some of the eggs that the queen has laid. Don't want to over smoke them because it confuses them, but just enough to calm them down. Found some, it's called brood, which is the eggs and the larva as it grows. So it's kind of hard to see, but as the queen lays her eggs, they look like little tiny grains of rice. They're really hard to see, they're really tiny. And as they get older, they turn into larvae, which they look like little tiny white Cheerios, which are kind of up in here. And then once they get even older, they become, they get capped, put a little layer of wax on them to finish growing, and then once they're ready to hatch, they come out as honeybees, fully grown. So these are all the worker bees. They're raising the young, taking care of them, feeding them, making sure they're healthy. When they find good sources of flowers for nectar, they can tell the other honeybees where to look by dancing. That's how they communicate. So they'll dance in the direction of the flowers, and the other bees can understand the dance and they can find the flowers. There's maybe 50,000 bees in each hive, so there's a lot of bees, and they need all those bees to collect all that nectar and make all that honey. It's a lot of hard work. And here is a drone. These are the males, and they don't have stingers, so I can pick them up, but I don't have to be afraid they're going to sting me. You can see how many bees it takes. It's a lot of bees to take care of the hive. They're all doing a lot of different jobs to keep the hive running and healthy and strong. Up here, they're all taking care of the honey. They're repairing this wax up here. They have these special glands, which their bodies produce wax, and they turn that into the beeswax. The queen, she can live for about 3 years, but all the worker bees will live for about 5 weeks. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you learned something and enjoyed watching me go through the hives. Beekeeping is a lot of fun, and it's great for the environment, great for farmers, and it's a fun way to connect with something that people in colonial America, including Benjamin Banneker, would have done. Thanks.